Now let's shift our focus to the second key element of storytelling: characters. Characters are the heart of any story. They're the bridge between the audience and the narrative, making abstract themes feel real and relatable. It's through their struggles, choices, and growth that the story comes to life. A compelling character doesn't just move the plot forward, they make us, the audience, care. And when characters feel authentic, the audience sees the world through their eyes. They connect, they empathize, and most importantly, they stay engaged. In nonfiction, characters are often straightforward. They represent real people, brands, or products. This could be a historical figure in a documentary, a spokesperson in an advertisement, or even the brand itself acting as a central character in a marketing campaign. Unlike fiction, where characters can be molded for dramatic effect, nonfiction demands authenticity. Staying true to the subject's real life qualities is going to help build credibility, making the messages more engaging and believable. So, whether it's a biography, a brand story, or an instructional video, the way you present these characters shapes how the audience is going to perceive and relates to the content. So, when we think about characters in storytelling, they can often be categorized in three key ways, each offering a different lens through which to understand them. First are character types. They focus on how a character changes or doesn't throughout the story. Some characters experience significant growth, while others remain consistent from beginning to end. For example, a dynamic character, like Harry Potter, undergoes the change as they face trials, while a static character, like Sherlock Holmes in many of his stories, maintains their core traits and beliefs. This approach is helpful for understanding the character's arc, but it doesn't always get to the root of why they act the way that they do or what drives them. Next are character roles. They look at the function a character serves within the story, and this could include terms like the protagonist, antagonist, mentor, sidekick, or villain. These roles are crucial for plot development, but they don't really dive into a character's personal growth or deeper motivations. For example, the protagonist, like Katniss Everdeen in The Hunger Games, carries the plot forward, while the antagonist in Star Wars, like Darth Vader, creates the main opposition. Their roles help organize the story's structure, but they don't always explain the character's inner conflict or transformation. And that's where character archetypes come in. They provide a deeper, more universal understanding of who a character is and why they behave the way they do. While the other two categories are important, archetypes are the most powerful because they tap into timeless, shared human experiences. Archetypes explore a character's motivations, emotions, and inner journey, allowing audiences to form a deeper emotional connection with them. And this approach gives characters more complexity and resonance beyond just their role or type. And while all three approaches are valuable, archetypes are particularly powerful because they allow for rich, dynamic characters that resonate on an emotional level with audiences. And that's going to make them more relatable and memorable. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let me share a brief history lesson and a definition of what these archetypes are. So these archetypes, they were categorized by Swiss psychologist Carl Jung and then later expanded on by American literary theorist Joseph Campbell. For generations, storytellers have relied on these archetypes to craft characters that feel familiar yet unique. By understanding these patterns, you can develop characters that naturally connect with audiences, making your narratives more compelling and impactful. Archetypes provide a foundation for character development, helping shape their motivations, conflicts, and growth in a way that feels authentic and meaningful. So to define it, an archetype is basically a familiar, time-tested blueprint that represents a specific type of person, object, or behavior. It's a universally recognizable pattern that audiences instinctively understand. Character archetypes in particularly, they define the core traits, values, and decision-making patterns of different character types. They're basically providing a foundation for storytelling that makes characters distinct, believable, and engaging. So by using archetypes, you ensure a diverse cast of characters, each with clear motivations and consistent actions. And these archetypes also help shape a character's unique strengths, abilities, and making them more memorable and relatable. Just like themes, character archetypes come in a broad range, but some show up far more often than others. Stories across different cultures, genres, and mediums rely on familiar characters and their archetypes to create narratives that resonate with the audience. So I'm going to share with you 8 that we're going to cover. That they aren't the only ones out there, but they're the ones that you're going to see most often in books, movies, and even marketing. They're time-tested because they tap into something universal. patterns of behavior, values, and motivations that feel instantly recognizable. But one thing to know is these archetypes aren't rigid formulas, they're starting points. A well developed character isn't just an archetype, they have depth, flaws, and unpredictability. Understanding these core archetypes will help you create more engaging, believable characters that connect with your audience. So, with that out of the way, let's explore some of the most common character archetypes and how they bring stories to life. The first character archetype we're going to look at is the leader. This archetype is all about drive, authority, and taking charge. Leaders push the story forward with their confidence and determination, often carrying the weight of responsibility. But that same strength can also make them rigid, arrogant, or overly controlling, creating natural tension with other characters. Leaders work well with characters who value structure, loyalty, and teamwork. They build strong bonds with warriors and caregivers, those who share their sense of duty and commitment. But their biggest challenges often come from the rebels and wildcards who disrupt their plans and refuse to follow orders. These clashes create some of the most dynamic conflicts in storytelling. You'll often see this archetype in roles like kings, presidents, CEOs, military commanders, or sports captains. In fiction, Cersei Lannister in Game of Thrones embodies the calculating, power-driven leader, while Captain America and Black Panther from Avengers Infinity War showcase a more principled and honorable take on the archetype. Cobb from Inception leads his team with precision, and Selena Meyer from Veep brings a comedic but sharp take on leadership. And Daenerys Targaryen, played by Emilia Clarke in the HBO show of Game of Thrones, is an exceptional example.